Welcome to the Haunted Laboratory Podcast tutorial for WordPress, a step-by-step guide for absolute beginners to WordPress. This is a step-by-step guide to WordPress, so this starts from the very beginning with installing the software, building the site, and then eventually at the end migrating your site to the host that you're going to be using. This is a step-by-step guide so you can follow along, pause, stop, play. This video is for absolute beginners with no WordPress experience, and in fact, users that have no experience with building websites in general. This is not for advanced or medium level users. This tutorial will not include any programming. This is going to be a very easy to use tutorial that will involve basically very little code and absolutely no programming whatsoever. Everything involved in this tutorial is going to be free. Plugins are free, themes are free. Even the screen capture software that I'm going to be using to record this video is free. I do want to reiterate that I'm not an expert on WordPress, so for the advanced users out there that happen to come across this video, please don't troll me. I am not an expert. WordPress intro examples. WordPress can be used for a variety of different websites. It's obviously known for its blogging platform, but you can see here that it can be used for movies, business websites, websites that are rich with image content. It can be used for news and magazine websites. The capabilities of WordPress are essentially limitless. Here, this is the WNBA website, so you can include scores and all sorts of things related to sports. This is the Angry Birds movie website. WordPress has all sorts of different capabilities, and it can be used for any type of site that you want, not just blogging. WordPress.com. So if you do a Google search for WordPress, you'll come across two sites, WordPress.org and then WordPress.com. What are the differences between the two? Well, one is a paid commercial site and the other is not. WordPress.com and WordPress.org share the same basic platform. But the WordPress.com platform is an online platform. You can set up a free site, or there are also paid packages. Again, this is a commercial site, so depending on whether you want a domain or storage space, there are packages for that. WordPress.com includes preloaded plugins. This is an example of a WordPress.com site. Looks pretty good. It's undeveloped. And a lot of this basic functionality in WordPress.com can also be found in the WordPress application that this video will focus on. So there's site identity. You can change the title, tagline, change colors, change the background color, the header text color, fonts. And as you can see, it's a pretty user-friendly site. Very easy to make all these adjustments. Header image, so we have a skyline here, we could change that. Menus. You can adjust widgets. So these are certain areas of a page that can be adjusted either with a text box or a photo or what have you. We'll go into that later. Setting a static front page or home page. All of this you'll be able to find in the developer's application. I think on the whole, WordPress.com may be a good option if you're just interested in putting together a quick website. You don't want to spend a great deal of time putting together the website. WordPress.com could be that option, but we're not going to focus on WordPress.com here. WordPress.org. WordPress.org is the home of the developer's application. We're not going to spend a great deal of time at the actual website. We'll be focusing on the application that would be downloaded from the website. But this is the WordPress.org website. It's a very easy website to navigate through. The Showcase tab shows some of the more popular websites that have been built using WordPress. The theme section, you can take a look at some of the themes that are out there. A nice feature about WordPress.org is that there is a support page. I usually Google when I have questions, but you can check out the support page here. People make postings on issues they're having. There's documentation. It's a great place to start. This is a general synopsis about WordPress. And again, WordPress.org and WordPress.com share the same platform. It's an open platform, but the developers app that we're going to download off WordPress.org is very different from WordPress.com. And here you'd have the ability to download WordPress. We'll go into the downloading procedure later on. WordPress application quick overview. So this is the WordPress application, or the developer's version, and we're going to be very acquainted with this by the end of the video. There's things like posts that you can easily add. You can add media to the media library. This is a plugin, links. Of course, adding pages. Here are some plugins. The appearance menu is going to be one that we're going to be very acquainted with by the end of this video. You can obviously change the appearance of the website easily. Plugins. Again, all this we'll get into in greater detail. Settings. One of the powerful things about WordPress are the themes, which basically are templates. We'll be selecting a theme and building a website from it. Installing the WordPress application on your computer. Just a few quick notes. The screenshots that are included in this video are taken from a Mac, so there may be slight differences if you are a PC user. Be warned that the installation is not necessarily intuitive for absolute beginners. There are a number of different steps that are required, so be prepared. As part of the installation, we will be using your computer as a server or local host. We will be creating a website locally on your computer prior to migration. Also, as part of the installation, we will need to download third-party software, in this example XAMPP, to interface your website with WordPress. Downloading XAMPP. So we can do a simple Google search for XAMPP. That's XAMPP, XAMPP. And then you'll find the website here. Click on it. Then locate the necessary operating system you're using. In this case, a Mac for me. And there will appear at the bottom of the browser. And then simply go to the Applications window, locate XAMPP, and then open up the Manager OS X. You'll have to enter your computer's password, and then click OK. Installing WordPress onto your computer. We're going to go ahead and access the WordPress.org site to download the application. From there, we're going to click Download, then Download again. In the downloaded file section, we're going to open it up. It will expand. And here in the Downloads window, we're going to go ahead and rename the folder HLP for Haunted Laboratory Podcast. And then we're going to go ahead and move that folder to the desktop. Of particular significance will be the wconfig sample file. We will edit this shortly. So we're going to open up XAMPP. And of particular significance will be the htdocs folder. We're going to open that up. This is where the downloaded folder is going to live. So we're going to go ahead and move HLP right into the htdocs folder. And here we're going to open up wconfig sample using a word processor. Remember, this is a text document, so any word processor will do. We're going to go ahead and change 3 sections: the database name, the username, and then finally the password. Let's go into XAMPP again and open up the manager. Click on Manage Servers. In order for the installation to be successful, we're going to have to make sure that MySQL database and Apache web server is in running status. And you can click the Start button to the right to start the process, but they have to be running not only for the installation to be successful, but also for you to log into your website to build the website at any given point. Now we're going to hit the Go to Application folder, and then we're going to go to phpMyAdmin. This is the area where you can create databases, create usernames, and we're going to go ahead, click on Databases, and we're going to create a database. Keep in mind that there can't be any spaces between words, so use hyphens or underscores between words. I'm using a hyphen here, so haunted-laboratory. Click Create. It will appear here on the left. If you clicked on it, you can delete it. We obviously won't do that here, but we have successfully created a database. So back to the WP config sample file. So we're going to go ahead and change the database name to the name that we just created, haunted-laboratory. And keep in mind the quotation marks. The installation will fail if the wrong quotation marks are used. And as you can see here, that's the same name that we used for creating the database, haunted-laboratory. For the username, we can actually create a username in phpMyAdmin, but we're going to use a generic root username. And again, keep in mind the quotation marks. And then for password, we're going to just simply delete this section. We will create a password shortly, but we'll delete that section for right now. And then finally, we're going to have to rename this file wp-config, so we're going to delete the word sample. This is extremely important. Remember, this is a template, so in order to be an active file, we have to delete sample. Most word processors can do a simple save as. With this particular word processor, I have to actually rename it. And then we're going to go ahead and try to access this server. It will start always with localhost /HLP, in this case HLP, which was the name of the folder that we had downloaded originally. The thing about WordPress is that it opens up in a browser. It's not like any typical application where it's a standalone application. In any case, the installation is almost complete if you get to this window. You can go ahead and name it. And here is where you can actually enter the username and password. I prefer the generic admin password. It's a very common, or excuse me, username. And then you can select whatever password that you want. You can enter your email address here. Click install. And voila. The installation is a success. You can go ahead and log in. So you'll enter the username and password that you just created. So admin, and then the password that you just created. Click login. And if you get to this page, the dashboard, you're ready to build your new WordPress site. Congratulations. WordPress installation, quick troubleshooting. So just a few things to keep in mind if you have problems installing WordPress. Make sure that the server name doesn't have any spaces, so words have to be separated by hyphens or underscores. You want to make sure that the wp-config folder is named properly, so the word sample is taken out, the final file name is wp-config. And then in the sections that we edited, you want to make sure that the database name is the database name that you created in phpMyAdmin. And then finally, you want to make sure that the MySQL database and the Apache web server are in running status. If they're not in running status, there'll be a red dot. If they're running, there'll be a green dot. And then finally, if you have any issues, always try a Google search. That may help. General troubleshooting methods. If you do run into issues, and this is not exclusive to installations, but to any issue that you may encounter, go ahead and do a Google search. And you can include in your search the actual error message that you receive. Another way to resolve an issue is to access the terminal. You would click on Utilities, and then the terminal. I probably would recommend against this if you're an absolute beginner. The other source for errors would be the wconfig file. Go to the htdocs folder, and that's where that wconfig file is going to be located. Many problems are associated with this particular file. In this example, I had an FTP issue with downloading themes and plugins. I managed to find a website that was extremely helpful that resolved my issue. The internet community is extremely helpful when it comes to trying to locate solutions to troubleshooting. Routine for opening site, localhost, and XAMPP. When you start up your website each time, you're going to have to go through a couple steps. First, go open XAMPP Manager and then manage servers. MySQL and Apache web server have to be running for you to access your website locally. It's not necessary for Pro FTPD to be running. You can either select Start All, or you can select MySQL and Apache individually and click Start. As you can see, it's taking a little bit of time. And we're all set. MySQL and Apache are running. Then go to the web browser of your choice. I'm using Chrome here. Type in localhost and then the name of your site, so HLP in this case for me. Remember, you're working locally, so any changes that you make to the website moving forward are going to be done locally. There won't be any live website that the changes will appear on. So this is the front page. This is the generic front page of an undeveloped website. You want to scroll down to the bottom and click Login, and then go ahead and enter your username and password, and you should be ready to go. Choosing and installing themes. So this is our website right now without a theme. It's an undeveloped website. So we're going to go to Dashboard. Now themes are basically templates. And one of the powerful things about WordPress is that there are hundreds of different themes out there, or templates, including many, many free themes that are very powerful, very professional looking. And you can see that there are different types of themes out there, and many of these themes are geared towards specific types of websites. So there are themes that are specific to blogs, themes that are specific to businesses, themes that are specific to magazines or newspapers, more visually oriented themes that would be more appropriate for visual or photography blogs. There's a lot of options out there for themes. Install is different than activate. You can install as many themes as you want onto your website, but once you click the activate button, that's when it becomes live. So one way to go about when you're trying to choose a theme is to install the themes that you like as you're trying to search through all these themes, and then narrow your choices among the installed themes later on. You can see we've installed a number of different themes here. Doesn't mean again that they're active, they're just installed onto the website. We can do a live preview here, but it's not going to necessarily show you much because it'll be a live preview of your undeveloped website. Click Add New, and we're back here. Many themes that have been out there for a while will have ratings. They can be useful. And you can see there's a picture of a developed page right there in this left. Again, when you hit preview, you may not really see too much because it's a preview of your undeveloped website. If you have issues trying to choose a theme, you can just do a simple Google search. That's how I really kind of ran into the Color Mag theme. I just did some searches on the top themes out there, so these are websites that populate or do reviews on themes. One thing that you want to make sure is that the theme is responsive. And by responsive, I mean that they can work on any sort of device, cell phone, tablet. And Google offers a service to test whether a website is truly mobile friendly. What we want to do is be able to, if we want to use this Google function, we have to find a URL that's for the demo. So a link to a demo version of the website. So this is a Color Mag theme. You can see it's rated fairly high. And here is a link to a demo for this theme. So we're going to go ahead and copy this and then paste it right here. And this page is indeed mobile friendly. I'm not really sure if this is a necessary option considering that probably most of these themes are going to be responsive or mobile friendly. So we can click install. And again, install is different than activate. You can install as many themes as you want, but you can only activate one. What we're going to do also is copy this picture right here. This shows a developed front page for ColorMag. It will be useful as a guide, and it also can help us when we deal with widget areas on the front page later on. And again, activate. Once you click activate, that's when the theme becomes part of your website. This ColorMag theme is a magazine theme that is very visual. This relies upon pages and particularly posts to have featured images. We'll go into that later. Setting static or home page. So a static page is basically the main page of the website. And you have two options. You can either create a home page, just a traditional home page, and use that as the static page or home page. Or if your website is a blog that has posts, you can use the posts page as the home page. We're going to go ahead and create a standard home page right here. Add new page. We're going to call it home. Then we're going to go to Appearances, Customize. And we're going to select this as a static front page. Again, the static front page is going to be the main page that the user will go to for the most part first. So we're just going to select Home for the front page. And then we'll click Save and Publish. If we go to All Pages, we'll see that this is the home page we just created and it's listed as front page. Media library and header options. So here we are at the dashboard. And we're going to check out the media library. So media, library. And this is basically where all your media files, whether it be pictures, audio, or video, will live. So anything that you use for your website that is media related, you have to upload it to this environment first. So we're going to go ahead and upload an image. And this is a JPEG. Image types that are acceptable will be JPEG, GIF, and PNG. So we've uploaded there. You can see the dimensions here. And then we're going to add or edit this section right here. And all these fields can be searchable. That's why it's important to add this information. So we'll add a title to Laboratory Podcast logo. Caption again would be text that accompanies an image. We don't want a caption here. Alt text would be text that appears if the image fails to download. And the description can be just about anything. If we close it right here, the information we just added will be saved automatically. So if we go back in, you'll see all that the information there. In the spirit of free stuff, I just wanted to briefly mention a program called GIMP, absolutely free to use, and it has a lot of the same functionality as Adobe Photoshop. You can create a transparent background here. It's the checkered background, and this is ideal if you want to put this on any different colored background. If you have a transparent background, you want to save it as a GIF. I recommend this highly, and there's different ways of creating a transparent background. These are just some of the tools that are used. So the select tool here It can be used to select chunks of the background that can be deleted if you're creating a transparent background. This is the eraser tool. Here's a paintbrush. All these tools are available in Photoshop. This is a smudge tool to smoothen out edges. So just a quick mention of GIMP. So we're going to go to the header and explore the header. So this entire area here is the header. And just to give you an idea of the different styles of headers, here are some websites. You can see that some headers are more visually oriented, others are less visually oriented. If you wanted to add an image that would basically cover the entire header, it will be 1400 by 400. We won't do that here. So header options, we're going to add a header logo. So click header logo, select image, and we will be going back to the media library here. We'll select this, choose image. And it doesn't automatically appear because we have to adjust the options in this section right here. So we can have just a header logo, no text. We could disable the text and the logo so there's nothing in the header. We'll do, this is both, so that's what we're going to end up doing. And we'll go ahead and save and publish. Even though the logo appears on the top of the text, when it's all done, the logo will actually appear to the left of the text. That's what we want. We're going to change the text here. This is a default text, another WordPress site. So we'll go to site identity and then tagline, and we'll go ahead and edit this. And there we go. Save and publish. You can go to settings, general, and you can actually edit that text here as well. So go back to header and header options. There's a lot of, there's a few built-in tools that you can that allows you to adjust the header and the navigation menu. So you can add a home icon to the primary navigation menu, so it appears to the left of home on the menu. You can choose to show the current date, so the date will appear at the top. We will deselect that. We can add a search icon or search field to the menu. We'll uncheck that for now. We'll go back to that later on. So under site identity, we're going to go ahead and add a site icon. So that's the little icon that appears in the browser right there. It's a little bit hard to see, but it appears to the left of the URL address. So we'll go ahead and select an image that we're going to upload to the media library. So the recommended size is 512 by 512. So we're going to select the file. Go ahead and select this one. As I mentioned, they recommend that the original file be 512 by 512. You can see it's not here. I probably should take a look at that later on. I had changed the dimensions on my computer. So we're going to add the image information here. I'm not really sure how important this image information is for a site icon, but we'll go ahead and add it just because this is standard procedure for all images. go ahead and hit select. Now if our image was 512 by 512, you can see the preview right here. If the image was 512 by 512, we probably would want to crop it. We're going to skip cropping for now. And then we'll go ahead and save and publish. And there you can see, it's a little bit hard to see, but at the very top, you can see that the site icon appears. Plugins review. Plugins are an important part of developing your WordPress site, and you're going to be installing and activating a number of plugins throughout this process. These are the default plugins that come with WordPress. A plugin is a piece of software containing a group of functions that can be added to a WordPress website. They can extend functionality or add new features to your WordPress websites. If you click Add New, you can go ahead and search for plugins, use image, and you can see there's a number of different plugins related to the keyword image. Some plugins are good and useful, other plugins are not so good. It's a mixed bag. Featured slider. One of the values about this tutorial is that we're going to recommend plugins that are generally useful and accepted by developers. And you can get an idea of the value of a particular plugin by the ratings and also by the number of active installs. SEO, search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is, quote, the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by ensuring that the site appears high in the list of results returned by a search engine. It's basically trying to get more visitors through search engines. And we have plugins that will be able to do this. There are two industry standards. It will be Yoast SEO, which I think from what I've researched has a slight edge over the second, which is all-in-one SEO. Both are considered very good plugins for optimizing searches. WordPress.org has more information about these plugins and all the other plugins out there. It gives you a more detailed description than what you could find in the plugin section of the developer's application. So here you can get more information about installation, FAQs. This is the all-in-one SEO pack page. There you have a video there. Generally speaking, I think all-in-one SEO is a better option if you're a beginner and you want to learn exactly what's going on with these SEO settings. We're going to go ahead to the plugin section and we're going to go and download all-in-one. Then we'll need to activate it. So you'll come across this screen. You can go to the general settings, or it has a separate tab here. So click on general settings, and we're going to leave most of this stuff the way it is. I won't go into detail about every single section, but we're going to keep all of this. We will change the homepage settings to static front page enabled because we are using a static front page, and the fields will disappear. We're going to actually visit those fields within the actual homepage. Keep all this the same. All this. Google Webmaster is something that probably you should check out. You can go basically register your website in this Google Webmaster section. We're not going to go ahead and register our website because it isn't live yet, and there's verification that's required. But this is basically a way to give you an idea of how your website is performing through, in this case, Google search engines. We'll leave all this the way it is for now. Keep all this. Keep all of this stuff. For this section, we'll click Enabled. I'm not exactly sure if that makes a ton of difference. And then we'll save changes. The thing to keep in mind is that while we have reviewed all the main changes, there are settings within each page that you set up that's dedicated to all-in-one SEO. The nice thing about all-in-one SEO is that you can actually get more information easily about each setting. So if you click the question mark there'll be a very brief description, but you click on the link to get more information. You'll be taken to a separate website. So the title will be the main title that appears in searches. You'll have a limitation of 60 characters. You want to keep it short, obviously. And you want to pack this with as many keywords as possible. So podcast, commentary, politics, sports. You want to have it be catchy also. So the description section, or the meta description, will be the text right below the title in a typical search. So the text highlighted right here is where is a description section. You have 160 characters to work with, and again, you want to be mindful of packing in as many keywords as possible because all of this information will be searchable. So podcast, politics, current state of affairs, sports. This one could actually use a little bit more work, but we'll leave it for now. And then you can actually put together the keywords separately, separated by commas. And again, before the site goes live, we'll take a look at this again. We'll leave the robot stuff blank. So for the title attribute, we'll keep it simple. Home Haunted Laboratory Podcast. That's information that appears when the cursor goes over a link to this page. And then this is a simple menu label. That's what will appear on the menu. We don't want to disable it. And as you can see here, this is a preview of what your site would look like in a Google search. Link, title, the description. We'll go ahead and update or save the settings. And this is something you're going to have to go through with every page. Basic text formatting and columns. So we're going to first install a plugin that is specific to formatting columns. So it's going to be called Advanced WP Columns. Install now. Activate. And this will be an easy way without using code of creating text columns in your page. So create a new page. This will be an About Us page. One of the things to keep in mind about the strategy that we're employing is that we're not focused on content right now. And lorem ipsum is basically random land text. You see this in software manuals and tutorials a lot. It allows the user to see what the text would look like within the website page or the website as a whole without having to worry about content. Obviously, all of that will be replaced by actual content, but for right now, we're working on the structure. So I just pasted some of this random land text preview, and you can see what it looks like. There's a visual tab, and then the text tab focuses on entering HTML code. So whenever you're entering any sort of HTML code, make sure to click on the Text tab to do that. So here we're entering code that's readily available on the internet to create columns. In this case, we're going to create 2 columns, but you can create 3 columns, 4 columns with a slight alteration to this HTML code. So going back to the Visual tab, you'll see how it manifests itself. We'll go ahead and delete this HTML code for now. Just to give you an idea of exactly how this works, you can do any sort of the standard techniques for editing, formatting words, bold, italics, alignment, that you would do with any word processor. This tool toggle opens up a second row of options. All the standard options that you can use in any word processor you can do here in WordPress. Now, advanced WP columns, that was just what we clicked on, is a non-coding way of entering text to create columns. So in this case, we're going to click in each section and paste the text directly. We'll make sure to adjust the borders so it's flush on both sides. We'll keep the spacing in the middle. That can be adjusted. And there you can see the columns being created. I like this plugin because there might be situations where you might want to have text that's formed in columns and then in the same page have a paragraph in a different formatting. This plugin allows you to do that rather easily. Adding images. We're going to click Add Media because we're going to add an image to our page. So these are a couple images that I've already uploaded to the media library. These came from pexels.com, P-E-X-E-L-S.com. And as far as I know, you can use these images for personal or commercial use. So before I uploaded this to media library, I saved it to my computer. And I have a file on my computer to save downloaded images from the web that I'll eventually upload to the media library. It's kind of a convenient method. I've included all this information, including a caption, so we'll include a text caption to go along with the image, the alt text, the description, and then we'll click Insert into Page, and there it appears. You can highlight there's the caption, you can highlight the image, you can expand it, shrink it, although you want to keep in mind the proportion of the image if you do enlarge or shrink it. We'll go back to the media library and we want to link the image we just inserted to a larger image. So we're going to copy the URL. This is a URL to the media library. And then we're going to click on the image and then click on the link button. From there, the field will appear below. And so we'll paste the media library link. Now, next thing we'll do is we want to get the text to wrap around the image. So we're going to select the image and then click Align Left, Align Left. And there you can see that the text appears to the right of the image. We'll click Preview. Everything looks good. We'll click on the image, and then the link will take us to a separate page with the larger image. Setting featured image. We're going to go ahead and set a featured image. For this particular website, we're going to set a featured image for just about every page, and I recommend doing this. So this is an image that I uploaded to the media library already, include all the information. We're going to click Set Featured Image. The featured image will appear prominently on the individual page, but it's also useful for pages that have more condensed thumbnails that are representations of pages. This will become a little bit more apparent when we work with featured post sliders and sidebars. So in this section, we're going to just fill in the SEO information. So the title is About Us. This is the description section, so about the Haunted Laboratory podcast. We definitely, in general, want to be mindful of keywords. This is going to be a summary of the About Us page, so make sure the description is a summary of the page that it's assigned to. We'll add some keywords here, and honestly, A lot of this I'm going to have to go over later to improve, but for now we're just going to quickly add this stuff in. The title attribute, and then will appear on the menu or any menus about us. Always good to hit preview before you publish. Remember, the preview tab will appear in a separate tab, so in order to go back to this page, you have to go back to the original tab. Now publish. And you can see here that the SEO information is filled in the general page area. This is the home page, and you'll see that About Us has been automatically created. That's one of the nice things about WordPress. New pages are automatically created to the menu. Embedding video. We're going to go ahead and embed video, and it's an extremely simple process. We'll go to the About Us page, scroll to the bottom, and I'm just going to add some text here for some haunted podcast, grooving. Let's go back in time for some monster mashing. So I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and basically copy straight from the URL browser window the address to this. And I'm going to simply paste it. It's as simple as that. And it automatically appears. Preview changes. And there it is. And you can click on it and then remove it if you want to. I'll show you another way to install video. So we're going to go ahead and download the YouTube plugin. We'll install this one. And you can see it appears right here, an option. So go back to the About Us page that we were working on. And then click on this YouTube button that's associated with the plugin. Again, we're going to copy that URL address in YouTube, and then we're going to go ahead and select embed a single video and then paste that address and then submit. What will happen is that they'll give you what they call shortcodes. So we'll copy this code and then paste it straight in to the page. And there it is. So sometimes we may want to adjust the window size, and actually going right into YouTube, there's a very easy way to do that. So click on Embed, and then click on Show More. And then when you get to this section right here, you can adjust the window size. Now there's ways to adjust the window size in WordPress, but this is pretty simple. So we're going to choose a smaller size. We're going to copy that code. And then we have to go to the Text tab, the HTML tab, and then we're going to go paste that code that YouTube provided us. And you can see that the height is 560 by 315.
There it appears. We'll preview changes. And there it is, a slightly smaller window. Creating contributors subpage.
We're going to create a contributors page, and the interesting feature about this page is it's going to be nested under a parent page. So it's not going to be a menu item unto itself, but it's going to be listed under another menu item or parent. So we're going to copy some text here, paste, then we'll click the beginning of the paragraph and we're going to add an image. We're going to include a caption, so that will appear on the page. Insert image. And then we'll click it and do a line left to have the text wrap around the image. And we're going to repeat this process. Again, a caption is going to be included. We'll click preview. And one of the things about WordPress is that it's not WYSIWYG or what you see is what you get. So in the visual editor, there might be some discrepancies between the visual editor and preview. So we'll do some adjusting. Okay. And you notice that the captions are appearing below each image, contributor number 1, contributor number 2. So this is the page, this is a section where we're going to actually put this under About Us. So the About Us menu item will show a little arrow, and when you click on About Us, it should also show the contributors page beneath it. So we'll select a featured image, and then of course edit the SEO section as we have done with the other pages. And I want to repeat that the description, title, all of this are draft descriptions and titles. So we'll go back and edit all of this, but this will just give you an idea. And there we have it. Creating image gallery. Creating an image gallery in WordPress is very easy. So we're going to create a new page, a gallery page, or haunted gallery. And then we're going to go ahead and paste a little bit of text. Copy, paste. Again, that's the random Latin text. And then we're going to go into the media library. Create gallery, And then we're going to select pictures that we want. In this case, we're going to have 3 columns and 3 rows. All of the information about the images have already been filled in, and you can see the gallery settings right there. Link it to media file. So by linking it to the media file, when the user clicks on the picture, it will allow the user to access the actual file. I'll show this shortly. Captions have been included in advance, so the captions appear. And when we do a preview, if we click on it, because we're linking it to the media file, it will show the original file. We're going to set a featured image here. There we go. And then we're going to go with the SEO information again. And like I said before, we're going to go back to the SEO information at a later point, but really what we're trying to do now is construct the website. And there you have it. It's a very simple way to create a gallery. Creating the lightbox effect. The lightbox effect is a very common image effect that's pretty nice. It's usually designed for image-oriented sites, but we're going to include it here. So we're going to download the plugin Easy Fancy Box. There we go. We're going to activate it. There we go. And essentially that's about all you have to do. So any images that you have in your site will go through this effect, and I'll show you right now. So this is the gallery page. We're going to do preview. And you can see it zooms in. It's a nice zooming effect. The user doesn't have to leave the page. The user can remain in the same page. It's a nice little effect, and again, it's usually designed for image uh, pages, so photography blogs, things of that sort. It's not necessarily essential for a regular blog or podcast that won't have images, but something that's very simple. You don't have to tinker around with it, just activate it, and all images will have this effect. Creating feedback form. So we're going to create a very simple contact us or feedback form. So we're going to create a new page, and we're going to call it contact us. Again, this is a very simple feedback form that allows users to send reactions to your website very quickly. We're going to download and activate the WP Forms plugin, WP Forms. Install, activate, and on the left menu there's going to be a tab that's associated with this plugin, WP Forms. So we'll add new. We're going to keep things simple with this contact form, so we'll go with the simple contact form. Basically the name, email address, and then the feedback. As with most plugins, there's going to be paid services and then free services. We're just going to stick with the standard fields, but among the free services, there are a couple things that you can add to your contact form. You could add a drop-down menu and then edit the choices here of the drop-down menu. You can do something similar with checkboxes, where you can edit again the choices of the checkboxes. This could be useful if you're trying to figure out how people are getting to your site. Moving on to settings, we could change the description of the button, the submission button. So submit feedback, that'll be the button that the user will click to submit the feedback. And then we can set where the feedback is going to be emailed to. Again, this will be an email sent to the designated email address that includes the feedback. And then standard with any sort of feedback, there's going to be a confirmation email, again confirming that the feedback has been sent. We'll go back to our Contact Us page. And then click on Add Form that's associated with the plugin. We'll choose a simple contact form that we created, and there will be the shortcode. And there you can see that this is the feedback, so the name, so we'll just do a test Joe Blow at joeblow.com. And hopefully when you get this feature running on your WordPress site that the people will be providing constructive feedback if it isn't positive. There's the confirmation email, and then the feedback should be sent directly to the designated email address associated with the form. And we'll just go ahead and fill in the SEO information here. We'll publish. And then we'll go to Pages, Home. And again, you'll see that the Contact Us page appears automatically in the primary navigation menu. Email subscription page, MailChimp. So we're going to create an email subscription page, and the reason why we're doing this is it's a great way for users to just enter their email address and get updates automatically. They don't have to go to the website constantly, and there's many different types of subscription pages, but basically the first step is to set up an account with MailChimp. MailChimp is the industry standard. You'll go through some standard steps of setting up an account. Once you've done that, what we're going to do next is create a list. So this will be kind of the database that will have all the subscribers. Their email addresses will be included in this list. So we don't have a list right now. We're going to create one. And so we'll give it a name. And it will be a newsletter. For right now, I'm going to use a Gmail address, but in the end, when we migrate this to the host site, we're going to use the email address associated with the domain name. I'm just basically using this email address right now as a placeholder. And they give you a warning about potential security issues or, yeah. So in any case, it's probably not a great idea to include your Gmail address as your permanent email address. Right now, we're just going to acknowledge this risk. MailChimp will allow you to move on and use an email address from Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo. So So this will be the name that the newsletter is coming from, so that the user will know where the newsletter is coming from. And then this will just be a reminder exactly why they're receiving this. They're receiving it because they signed up to receive it. You can figure out, there's different notification systems. So when a user subscribes, you can get a one-by-one summary or a daily summary. It may not hurt when you're starting your website to have a one-by-one or daily summary. Next, we're going to pick a sign-up form. So this will be the form that the user will enter their email address in. So we'll do an embedded form, and it's pretty simple. So this one here just requires a user. Well, so those two either require a user to enter the email address only or enter the email address and their full name. Nothing too crazy here. I personally prefer the simplest way, so just simply having the user enter an email address would probably be the easiest way. And then there's going to be code that you'll eventually be copying and pasting straight into your WordPress site. So back in WordPress, we're going to create a new page called Subscribe. And again, by creating an email subscription page, you're not having to. So if a user, so basically, a user doesn't have to go day in and day out to check for updates on your website. They can simply have the convenience of receiving a notification of the latest podcast that's been uploaded from their email. So we're going to enter some SEO information here. Again, with all this stuff, we're going to go back later on and take another look at the SEO information, but we're quickly putting this information in right now so that we can get the page going. So back to here, we're going to copy the code. And then in the text tab, we're going to go ahead and paste that code. And that's really it. We'll do a preview. And you can see that the form is there. We'll eventually create a text widget that will also include the form on the front page and the sidebar. But for right now, we're going to publish, and this is just, again, a great way for users to be connected to your website and updates. Creating posts page. So we're going to create a post page. Like we created a home page or a static front page, we're going to create a page that's going to be dedicated to all the posts that we're going to be publishing. So this is something that's extremely pertinent toward bloggers, podcasters. We'll enter some SEO information here. But the thing to remember is that this is going to be the page where all your posts are going to live. We're going to go ahead and set a featured image. And for this theme, again, we want to set a featured image for every single page that we create, and ideally for every single post that we create as well. So I've already uploaded this image. We're going to select it. There it appears at the bottom. We'll preview. Nothing really happening here. So we'll just go ahead and publish it. This is an important part. So we have to go to settings and then reading. And this is where we're going to assign the post page. So we assign the front page to home. We're going to assign the post page to the page we just created, the podcast page.
On a somewhat unrelated note, it's helpful for searches to include a summary. We'll click Save Changes. And so when you go to your list of pages, you'll see that the home is listed as quote unquote front page, or the static page. And the page that we created is going to be listed as a post page, and there appears automatically in the menu. Creating posts, categories, and tags. So we're going to create a post. So here are all our pages, and the podcast page is our post page. So that's where all the posts are going to live. So if we go to the post page, besides its default post, we don't have much. So we're going to simply add new, and adding a post is very simple. The thing to keep in mind with the post title is that you want to have it be packed with keywords that would be relevant in searches. So with this one, I have reality TV or reality TV show, Donald Trump, presidential campaign. So I'm loading this up with some good keywords there. You also want to have the title to be catchy as well. We're going to add some random Latin placeholder text, so go ahead and do that. We're going to set a featured image. Now we've done featured images for pages, but we can do the same thing for posts. And I think that in this case we're going to have to because of the theme that we're using. And I'll go into that a little bit later, but we want to add a featured image to every post. We'll add the SEO information here. We'll add keywords. Since this is a post and not a page, there's not going to be a title attribute or menu section, so finishing up here with the keywords, you'll see that there's no title or menu attribute. That's associated with pages. This is a post. We want to also categorize our posts. Now this is optional, you don't have to do it, but this is a good, easy way for users to simply click on a category and find all the related posts associated with that category. We also want to check uncategorized. I'm going to actually rename that later on as all. And then tags is also something that I highly recommend. It's useful for searches. Uh, it's basically keywords, but it allows users to select a tag and then find all the posts that are associated with that tag. So it can be very useful for the user, and they appear right here. We'll do a quick preview. And the one thing I like about this theme is how the post looks. It's a very clean type of format. These are the tags. Above the title are the categories, so we just have two categories. We'll publish. And again, the user can click on either the category button or the tag button to get all the posts that have that tag. So from the home page, we can click on podcast, and there's our post. And podcast audio, SoundCloud. Now, there's a number of different ways to add audio to your WordPress site. You can add players that are specific to WordPress. We're going to go ahead and use SoundCloud. It functions very similarly to YouTube in terms of files. So SoundCloud.com is the site, and you want to set up an account. After you've set up an account, you can upload any file that you want, a sound file. So in this case, we're going to go upload. We'll choose a file. And then we can go ahead and select a file from our computer. I've already uploaded the song, and so this is it. If we go into we can go into the basic settings. And one of the nice things about SoundCloud is that there's many users that just use SoundCloud. So there's different ways that a user can find your podcast, either through your own podcast or through SoundCloud. And I've included a description, I've included some tags or keywords. And then here is a link to this specific file that I could share. A particular note is the user and the user number. We're going to have to remember that. You want to write that down. So we're going to add a new plugin that's exclusive to SoundCloud. And it is the SoundCloud is Gold plugin. There it is. We'll install it, activate it. And a tab will appear on the left menu, right there. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. You can change the size of the player, so that you have that option right here. So you can change the width, the player type. What we need to do first is, again, go back to that user and then that number. And we're going to have to enter that right here. So we're going to add a username, so it's user dash and that number. And we're going to go ahead and say add username. You will get an error message if it isn't working or if it doesn't work, but we have successfully added the username. That means that you can go ahead and embed any file that's under that username. So we're going to copy that shared link. So that link right there, we're going to copy. And very similar to YouTube, all you need to do is just paste it directly into your WordPress site. And it's as simple as that. So we're going to go to the post that we want to include this in. Again, the way that we're doing podcasts is post by post. We're going to go to the text or HTML section, and we're just going to simply paste in the URL address from the browser or from the shared link. And there it appears. Very, very simple. And again, it's right there. And you could change the size of that player, as I mentioned before. We'll go ahead and update that post. SoundCloud is a very simple and effective way to add audio to your WordPress site. Primary navigation menu. We're going to reorganize the primary navigation menu. So if we go to the website, it's going to be this navigation menu here. And there's a general ordering. We want the home page to be all the way to the left, the contact us and email page to the right. So we're going to do appearances, menus, and then we're going to go, so these are all the pages that we have. So we're going to name this menu primary 1. And it's simply dragging and dropping. That's all it is. So home at the very top is going to be to the far left. The contributors page I'm going to nest below about us, so it's going to appear underneath about us. And I'm just simply reordering the pages, putting the podcast right next to the home page. There's an extra home page for some reason, so I deleted that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add categories as separate pages. This isn't a requirement, but this is a nice thing to do. It makes it easy for the user to be able to just access a page based on the particular interests. So the all is going to be all the posts, and then we're going to do politics, sports, and science. And so basically, if the user clicks on one of these pages, it will just show the posts that are listed under that particular category. Easy way for people to just go straight to the posts that interest them. So here's a primary navigation menu on a cell phone device. And then if we visit the actual website, there will be our reordered menu with category pages, the contributors page below About Us, And so if you want to just go to the politics page, it would just be posts with politics as a tag. Now, occasionally you get issues that are related to plugins. So I had a particular issue that was associated with a separate plugin called Awesome Sticky Header that I installed for a completely separate reason. And it turns out that I had these checked. You want to leave them unchecked, but I had them checked and it was interfering with how the menu was functioning. So if you have issues, make sure to take a look at plugins. Search field. So we're going to go ahead and create a search field that will allow users to search for whatever keywords they want in the website. We'll go ahead and just check out some of the plugins, or at least one plugin in particular. There are many. BOP is one plugin. We'll go ahead and install and activate. So in the menu section right here, BOP appears as a widget, so we'll add to the menu. And the menu that we have currently is the primary navigation menu, so it will be added to the primary one navigation menu that we created in a different section. We'll visit the site, and I'm not really too happy with how the search box is formatted, so I'm going to go back to the dashboard, go back to plugins, and we're going to go ahead and delete that plugin. All the functionality associated with that plugin will disappear as soon as the plugin is deleted. There you'll see it's gone. So go to Appearance, Customize, and then we're going to go to Header Options, and then Search Icon. This is the standard WordPress search feature. We'll go ahead and add that, so save and publish. And when you click on the icon, the search field will appear. So there we go. Creating the sidebar. So we're going to go ahead and create a sidebar. Now, WordPress already has built a default sidebar that you see right here. And a sidebar is a very convenient way for the user to access various pieces of functionality that are part of your website. We're going to go ahead and add a text widget, so there'll be a text section to the sidebar. Again, the sidebar could be on the left side. We're going to go ahead and choose on the right side. And we're going to also add recent posts, but with thumbnails. So first, we're going to add the subscribe widget. So we're going to go to the subscribe page. This is the subscribe page. We'll go to the text tab, and we're going to copy all this code. Now, this is all the code that we copied and pasted from MailChimp. Exact same code. So we'll go to Appearances, Widgets. These are the available widgets that we have, and we want to go ahead and find the text widget. The text widget is probably the most common widget that will be used. You can either drag it to the section that you want, or we'll simply just add it right here. So the right sidebar is a sidebar that we're working at, so we're going to select right sidebar and then click Add Widget. It will appear at the bottom, so we're going to move it up to the top. You can move it wherever you want in terms of ordering. So we're going to paste that code for the subscription and click Save. You just paste it right into that window. So go ahead and visit site, and there you'll see the subscribe box. Convenient, very quick way for the user to just simply enter their email address without having to go to the subscribe page. Next, we're going to add recent posts, but with thumbnails. Now, recent posts, that function is built into WordPress, but I want to have thumbnails. So those are the featured pictures that we assign to each page. Thumbnails adds a nice graphic touch, maybe entices a user to be a little bit more interested in accessing that particular post. So we're going to find the recent posts with thumbnails. There we go. And again, it's the right sidebar we're working with. It can simply be added straight to the sidebar, or you can just drag it to the sidebar. We're going to go ahead and add the widget. And again, it appears at the bottom. We're going to move it right underneath that subscription text widget. And then from here, we have a number of options. We can list how many we want to show. We only want to show a particular category. We can choose that. There's the all categories section. And we want to display the featured image. That's the whole point of this plugin. So we're going to click Save. We'll visit the site to see how it looks. And there you go. You'll see the recent posts. Again, if you don't want the thumbnails, you can just go ahead and use the built-in recent post feature that was already there. So we're going to go back to the widget section, and we can change the ordering through a simple drag and drop. We already have a recent posts with thumbnails, so we can just delete the built-in WordPress recent post that we have there. We just deleted that. We'll move the categories up. Looks good. Let's visit the site. And there we go. We're going to add some share buttons in the next section, but this is basically what the sidebar looks like. Adding share buttons, social media. So we're going to add social media share buttons. Pretty much this is a feature that's common to just about every website that you see today. It allows users to share a page or post on their favorite social network. So we're going to add the Add to Any Share button. It's one of the most popular plugins that accomplishes this feature. So we're going to go ahead and activate it. And then we're going to go click Settings. We're going to largely keep the default setting. There's Facebook, Twitter, Google+. You can also add other networks. This is the text that appears next to the buttons, so share this. And then this is where you can determine where you want the buttons to appear or not appear. So go ahead and visit the site. And again, I'm just going over installing these. They're all over the place in the sidebar. If there's one place that you want to put them, I think would be underneath each post. There you can see it's right below each post. So there are the social media share buttons. Tables, audio highlights page. So we're going to create an audio highlights page. So this is ESPN Mike and Mike's radio page, and it includes a very brief text summary and then links to individual segments. The whole idea here is to allow the user to access your podcast audio in a very convenient way. You can click on the link, it goes to a separate page where the video can be played. And again, it's not required. I don't really see this too often in podcasts, but I think it's a nice way to allow the user to access not only your full podcast, but individual segments. I've created already an audio highlights page. This is essentially a blank page at this point. We will populate that with a table. And I've created individual pages for the segments that want to appear on the audio highlights page. So this is just basically a blank page with the SoundCloud link. So this is a link that goes to the file that's saved on soundcloud.com. And if you have any questions about that, go to the SoundCloud chapter. Here's another one. Again, a blank page with just the link to the SoundCloud file. And there it is. So this involves tables. We're not going to be doing too much with tables, but this is going to involve creating a table. So we're going to go to TablePress, find TablePress as a plugin. It's a very common plugin that will allow us to create a table. So go ahead and activate that. And you'll see there's an option that appears in the menu for this plugin. We're going to add new table. We'll go ahead and name it. So audio highlights. So we can add the number of columns and rows. We're just going to do 1 column and 5 rows. So in this section, you can have the first row be the header. The homepage title kind of accomplishes that, so we're going to deselect that. We'll keep alternating row colors and the row hovering highlight function. And we're not going to bother with this section right here. We'll save changes. And then this is a section we'll just enter text straight into each box. And you can actually expand the box if it's too narrow. So this is a section we're just going to enter the text of what we want to appear. And again, the whole point of the audio highlights page is as just 1 or 2 sentences, some brief description, and then a link to the segment. It would be listen here, with here being the link. So we're just going to add some very brief text to each of these rows here. That would be segment specific. So check out the latest campaign financing monster. So next we're, and again you can expand it a little more. Next we're going to click Insert Link, and then once you click in each box, this window will appear, and you can basically select the page that you want to link to there. Once you do that, HTML code will automatically appear. And that's what is happening right here. So we're going to put before the A and the /A, we're going to put listen, and then between the A and /A, we're going to put here. Here, the word here is going to be the link. So when the user clicks here, it will be a link that will take them to the page that's linked. So again, we'll do listen before the HTML code, and then in between the HTML code, we'll add here. And again, each time I'm clicking the button Insert Link, selecting the page that I want to link to, adding listen, the word listen before the HTML code with a space, and then between the code adding here. We're going to go ahead and save changes. And at this point, we're going to copy the shortcode. That's what we're going to paste into the page. So go back to the Pages window, Audio Highlights. We're going to be in the Text tab, paste the shortcode, and let's preview it. And there you go. It's not too glitzy, but it can be effective with some more editing, a little bit more formatting. And you can see it goes right straight to the audio page with the SoundCloud file. So listen here, click here, and there it takes you to the individual audio page. Again, audio highlights is just an idea, a very easy way for users to access segments, but it's not necessarily required for a podcast. Breaking news, latest posts widget. By breaking news, I don't mean CNN or anything of that sort. This is going to be a ticker that's going to show links to the latest posts that you put up on your WordPress site. So we'll go to Dashboard, Appearances, Customize. So this is a feature that's built into this theme. So we're going to go ahead and go to Header Options, Breaking News, and then just click the checkbox there. And that's it. And then there you can see the ticker. We'll save and publish. Let's take a look at how this will appear on the site. And there it appears at the top. It's just a way for users to quickly see the latest posts. So changing website primary color. So we're going to change the primary color of this website. It's a very simple thing to do. Right now you can see that the primary color is blue. That's default with the free Color Mag theme. And so we're going to go ahead and change it. We'll go to Customize. And then go to Design Options, Primary Color Options, and we're just going to simply select a different color. This is the Haunted Laboratory podcast, so I think orange seems to be appropriate. And you can see how a very simple selection can really change the complexion of your website. We'll take a look at it. So we'll go visit the site. And there it is, orange instead of blue. Featured post slider. So we're going to add a featured post slider. One thing I want to quickly mention is that a lot of these types of functions may be specific to a theme, so you may not see this with every theme. Right now you can see the home page is blank. We're going to add some real estate to that. So we'll go to Appearances, Widgets, and like I said before, some of these are theme specific. For example, the post slider that we're going to add is going to be called Featured Category Slider, is specific to this theme. Now, widgets areas are specific areas of the page. We're going to choose the content top page. That's the central section of the home page. And then we can add the number of posts. We can choose latest posts or post by a specific category. We're not going to do that there. Just latest posts. Click Save. The slider is basically a way to show the posts and then cycle through them at a regular timed interval. So this is the post. You can see very quickly how a slider can really change the complexion of the image. And every few seconds, it will automatically scroll to the next post. And it's very important to set a featured image to each post, because that's what's appearing right now as a featured image. You can click anywhere on that window and go straight to the post. Hiding page titles. Every now and then we may want to hide the page title. So this is the title that appears at the top usually of each page. Right now in the home page it's appearing at below the featured slider header. It's not really where we want it. We want to just go ahead and hide the title. So you can actually do this with some simple code added, but we're lazy. So we're going to actually search for a plugin called Hide Title. We'll install and activate it. And again, the title is the wording, the page name that appears at the top of the page but below the header. So we're going to go ahead and look at, go straight to the home page. So here's our home page. And then you can see this is related to the plugin. We'll just click it. And one of the weird things about this plugin is if you do preview changes, the title will still appear. You have to actually save it for the title to disappear. Don't ask me why. And there you go, the title is gone. Assigning category colors. So whenever categories are shown visually on a website, there'll be tags related to the category shown. And one nice way to kind of change it up is to assign colors to the categories. Right now, everything that has a tag for the category is in the same color, orange. But we can assign colors to different categories. So go ahead to the category color settings. Very simple. Just select the color. So click on select color. So this is the all category. We're going to select red for politics, blue for sports, and then we'll go green for science. And again, this adds a professional touch, so any sort of tag associated with a post will have very specific color associated with that category. adding category widgets to the front page. So we're going to go ahead and add some widgets to the front page. They'll be specific to categories. So this whole area here that's blank, we're going to add basically sections. They're going to feature posts based on particular categories. So we're going to go to Appearances, Widgets. You have to remember that some of these widgets are theme specific, so these widget options and sections may change depending on the theme. So these are theme specific to the Color Mag theme. We're going to go down and select the Feature Post Style 2. And we're going to go ahead and add that to the Content Top section. Remember, this is a section that currently has the Post slider, and we're going to add it right below the Post slider. So we're going to name this widget Politics. We'll show posts from the category Politics only, and then we'll save. We'll visit the site, and there you can see, right below the slider, there's going to feature one post and then 3 other posts beneath it. A very easy way for the user to take a quick look at the posts that are up on your site and access them. So going back to the widget section, we're going to add the widget to 2 additional sections. So we're going to use the same widget, style 2, and we're going to do the content middle left section. So this is going to be below the section that we just added. We'll go ahead and add widget. And again, I do want to emphasize this is a theme-specific widget. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to access a similar type of widget with the theme that you're working with, but you'll have to do a little bit of research in terms of the available widgets of your theme. And then there you can see that this is the section related to sports. There's only 2 that are appearing because there's only 2 posts related to sports. But if there were more, there would be more posts that would appear. And I can't emphasize enough that the featured image that's assigned to each post is integral to this section. It won't work without a featured image assigned to each post. We're going to use the same widget again, and then we'll go ahead and do the right section, the middle right section of the content. We'll add the widget, and then we'll name it Science. Show posts within the category, and again you can select recent posts as well. We'll save it, go to the website, and there it is. Very quick way to really add content to your front page using a theme that's very much visually oriented. Editing footer area. So let's go visit the website locally. And at the very bottom, you'll notice that there's this junk here, this menu, odd looking menu. We're going to get rid of that. So if you have problems with WordPress, one place you want to check would be the plugins you're using. An awesome sticky header is evil. It created problems when I tried to put together a primary navigation menu, and it added all that junk at the bottom in the footer. So I deactivated it. And if we want to just take a quick look, you can see that by deactivating that plugin, all that junk is gone. So we'll go back to the dashboard, appearances, and the menus. And there's a separate chapter if you have questions about creating menus. We already have created a footer menu. This includes most of the items that you would find on the primary navigation menu. We're going to create a separate menu, a second menu for the footer, and we'll call this footer 2. The reason why we're creating a second menu is because we're going to be putting it into a separate widget area than the first menu. And this second menu will just have categories. Again, one option is to just combine both of these menus into one menu, but we're going to create 2 menus because of the 2 widget areas that they're going to eventually occupy. We'll save the menu, go to widgets. I've mentioned this before, but widgets may be theme specific, so you may not necessarily have the same widget areas that you're seeing here with the theme that you're using. So we're going to add a custom menu widget to footer sidebar 1. We're going to go ahead and click add widget. There it will appear. We'll have to select the menu, and that'll be footer menu 1. Click save. We want to then add the second menu to footer sidebar 2. So let's go back to the custom menu widget. Select footer sidebar 2. That will be the categories menu. So footer 2. Click save. And then let's check it out. And there you have it, a very simple footer area.